Presenting the Speako Model CB201 Stereo Headset Modification Control Unit. This is something I found at the thrift store a long time ago, and I didn't really think it was worth making a video about until I discovered that Speako is actually still in business today, still located on Long Island, New York, about 10 miles away from where they used to be. Now they're in Amityville instead of Freeport. But they're still in business. Today they mostly specialize in security cameras. And they actually have a YouTube channel with a bunch of videos about their cameras.
Since 1960, Speako Technologies has been driving product innovations in video surveillance and audio products for the residential and commercial markets.
So I found that quite interesting, but this is one of their very old products, probably from the 1960s, judging by this wonderful hand-drawn artwork. Very classic 1950s, 1960s style. You certainly don't see that anymore, because this was back when putting any kind of photographic artwork on a product was very expensive, even in black and white. So they mostly used hand drawings or tracings of photographs instead of actual photographs. This is an inline volume control and mono stereo switch for headphones, because this was in the early days of stereo when it was not uncommon for the left and right channels to be out of balance, or for the channels to be swapped or out of phase, or sometimes only one channel would be coming through and you would want to switch it to mono so you could hear it through both sides of your headphones. So a product like this would do that for you. On the back it gives an explanation of the features and operation. It says it can be used with any stereo headset that requires modification for both right and left. Interesting that they put right first instead of left and right. Speaker attenuation control. Operation is simple, just plug it into your amplifier's headset jack. Use the toggle or slide switch in the headset position. I guess some systems required you to manually switch over to headphones from speakers instead of just automatically switching over when you plug it in. You can adjust the volume of each speaker by turning the controls until the desired volume has been attained. For monaural listening, simply slide the switch to the mono position and again adjust for proper audio level. And here's their certificate of quality. All Speako products and accessories are guaranteed under the RETMA warranty. I had to look that up. That's the Radio Electronics Television Manufacturers Association. They're the organization who came up with the standardized model numbers for vacuum tubes, and they're also still in existence today, now known as the Consumer Technology Association, and they run the Consumer Electronics Show, better known as CES. So that's who that is. Warranty: our products are quality engineered and manufactured to assure exacting performance. Component Specialties Incorporated, Freeport, Long Island. Still in business as Speako Technologies in Amityville, New York. Printed in Japan. I guess the entire thing would be made in Japan. So here it is taken out of the package, and it does say made in Japan on the back. So it has a 1/4-inch headphone plug and a 1/4-inch headphone jack, and you get your potentiometers for the left and right volume. Oh, that one sounds kind of scratchy. Maybe I need to spray some contact cleaner and lubricant into that one, but this one feels okay. And that's a very nice clicky mono stereo switch. I noticed the little nameplate came unglued, so I'll need to reattach that. That would fit right back into there. And that is metal. So let's undo this probably at least 50-year-old twist tie. Decent size of cable. No degradation of the rubber. Let's see, yes, that untwists back when you were expected to be able to repair these plugs. If it ever came unsoldered, you could just redo it and screw it back on. That's very nice. And you can even unscrew this thing and take it apart, which I may do to try to get this control feeling a little better. It's kind of scratchy. So there it is, taken apart. You can see that it's fully exposed. So you can see the resistance track going along there. And it's old enough it has that white fuzzy stuff as the insulation in the cable. Kind of wondering if that's asbestos. Either way, I'll try to leave it alone. So I sprayed some of this into it and now the controls feel smoother. This side is still a little bit more scratchy than this side, but I think that's just the feeling of the wiper going against the resistance track. It may even be a wire wound potentiometer, and that's just the way it feels. And I had a close look at the wiring of the mono stereo switch, and it does combine together the left and right channels. I know on some headphones that have a mono stereo switch, when you switch it into mono, all it does is just take the left channel and ignore the right channel, but this one combines them together, which I prefer. So I got it all back together and I reattached the badge with some double-sided tape. And after cleaning the controls, they both feel about the same now. Both a little bit scratchy, but I think that's just the way they are. It still has a very, very clicky mono stereo switch. And to test it out, I'll be using my Philips FC931 cassette deck, because like many cassette decks, it has a headphone jack. It's a 1/4-inch headphone jack, but it does not have a volume or balance control for it. So this will add those functions to it. I just plug this into the headphone jack, and now I can plug headphones or any kind of audio output to this and adjust the left and right volumes and switch it between mono and stereo. First I'll be playing this Fantasy Challenge tape, which was recorded in mono, so the left and right channels should be equal. So what I'll do is I'll start playing it and I'll adjust the left and right volume controls until it appears to be centered, and then if everything is properly aligned, when I switch between mono and stereo, there should be no audible difference. That means the left and right channels coming out of the tape deck are perfectly matched. And I'll be giving you a direct hookup from this output.
Welcome to your claim to fame's Fantasy Challenge. Hi, this is Pat Summerall. Each week we bring you great golf from the top tournaments in the country, filled with some truly unbelievable surprises. Now let's go out on the course with Nigel Ashcroft and catch up with the amazing story that's unfolding here.
Thank you, Pat. That story we're alluding to here at the U.S. Open is the possible record-shattering performance by a heretofore unheralded newcomer.
Well, if you thought John Daly's win on the PGA Championship was something to see, folks, well, hold on to your hats for this one.
Golf's newest phenom is Carl Campano from Florence, New Jersey. He took a leave of absence just 8 months ago to pursue his passion for golf.
So that worked exactly as I expected. Once I got the left and right channels balanced, switching between mono and stereo made virtually no difference to the channel balance. The controls are still a little bit scratchy, but they are over 50 years old, so you can't blame them for having a little bit of scratchiness. Once I use them a little bit more, it should be fine. Next, I'll play a clip from a song which I noticed on this deck. The left channel was quite a bit louder than the right. Now that could just be the way this recording was mixed, but with this device I will be able to balance it out so it sounds more centered. So I played a little bit of the Slugbug tape and I'll mess around with these controls.
The horrid little man comes out to inform me I must subscribe to use these feet. There was once a time I had a original thought, but I was not authorized to think. I tried to write it down, but I had to register. My piece of paper was not mine. And everything I thought I knew, everything I thought was meaningful, every friend I ever had was someone trying to sell me something.
Yeah, I think that's just the way that song was recorded, with the vocals sort of off to the left side, but it still was fun to play around with these controls and change the relative levels of the left and right channels and to switch between mono and stereo. And I do have some tapes I recorded myself on poor quality equipment, on poor quality tape, that one channel is unintentionally louder than the other, and this would come in very handy for correcting that. For my next demonstration, I pulled out my turntable and this Realistic Stereo Spectacular Demonstration and Sound Effects record from 1971. And there's a track on here I'll play first directly from the turntable, and the announcer on the record will explain what's going on. And then I'll play it again through the Speako to manipulate the sound.
The most spectacular feature of the audiophile series is the dramatic separation of sounds.
For instance, on the left, now on the right. By means of stereo separation, it's possible to recreate for the listener the exact placement of musical sounds or other effects just as they were situated at the time of recording. Now, pay close attention to this stereo phenomenon. The stereo groove, which follows this announcement, contains two separate programs of music which sound like this when played together at the same time by the same stylus in the same groove. But by listening to either Channel A or Channel B separately, you have your choice of symphonic music or jazz with minimum crosstalk or interference between channels. Now, pay close attention to this stereo phenomenon. The stereo groove, which follows this announcement, contains two separate programs of music which sound like this when played together at the same time by the same stylus in the same groove. But by listening to either Channel A or Channel B separately, you have your choice of symphonic music or jazz with minimum crosstalk or interference between channels. Lest we forget, let's get in all those traditional stereo effects. Anybody for ping pong?